bunch of old men sitting in a room talking about, hey, you know what? We should do that. That should be a rule. And they just implement it and they say, okay, work on it in the preseason.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today for this Top Shelf Tuesday edition, Captain for Life, Will Cotton. Will, how you doing tonight, man? A little NFL talk. Hope all is well.
Oh yeah, yeah, love it. NFL and ready to go.
All
These
right,
playoffs are
so
already heating up.
absolutely. Segment one, the best, the worst, and most surprising. Segment two, we're going to talk about officiating. And in segment three, we're going to talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only. But I wasn't very entertained this week. But first, Cotton Man, what is the best thing you saw this NFL weekend?
For me, it was probably the Bills beating the hot Cowboys team. You know, Cowboys were hot. They were coming in, man. This is going to be a big win for them, and the Bills shut them down, and they find themselves still in the playoff hunt. And Josh Allen is playing excellent right now. Wish he had played it earlier in the season, but the best time to be playing well is right now. So let's see if they can continue.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I'm going to go the opposite. Go Carolina. I may have lost my season long bet, but it's hard to win in the NFL, and losing sucks. And after watching the Detroit Pistons go through their challenges that they're still going through, and several other teams with long losing streaks, it's nice to get a win. Plus, I don't think it hurts them with the number one draft pick. So kudos to Carolina. I'm nowhere near getting that season long total, but good for you. Well, what's the worst thing you saw?
There was a lot of worst today. Don't get me wrong, but I think the one that stands out for me was the 63 points on a national TV game by the Chargers, man. And you know that kind of stuff will get you fired, and it did get him fired. So that's definitely the worst thing I saw. That was terrible. Ooh, it was bad. It was
Yeah,
ugly.
yeah, that doesn't get you long to the pay window. I'm going to stay with the Carolina game, and the worst thing I saw was Atlanta. You have a chance to do something, get into the playoffs, and you lose to Carolina. You can't lose to Carolina when you actually have a chance to be in that mix the last 3 weeks of the season, because we're all done with bye weeks. So that was the worst thing I saw, was Atlanta just pushing away an opportunity to stay relevant. So, Will, what's the most surprising thing you saw today?
Houston, man. Houston won without CJ. You know, they went out, they won, and they really like playing with Coach Ryan, man. And he's kind of the way that Dan Campbell started and now has the line set up where they're playing very well. I think Coach Ryan is going the same kind of mantra where he's building in relationships now, and guys like him and they play. And that's the best thing you do is that. And plus, guess what? At least Houston, it's way better than Detroit, so it'll be easy to get some guys. So that was good. Good win for them. I'm surprised.
Yes, no state tax. Yeah, and I'm sure Follerin is extremely excited about that because he does like the guy. Um, my most surprising was best thing you saw today. I was surprised that Dallas laid an egg. Not that they lost, because they haven't beaten anybody this year. They haven't beaten anybody of significance. But for them to travel on the road and lay an egg, not lose, but get beat badly, because what tends to happen this time of year is Dallas gets you excited. They'll host a playoff game because they're the top wild card or something. They'll win that one and then they'll lose the next week. And that's been going on for like 20 years. And I'm not hating. I'm just saying, man, that's why people don't believe in you, because of performances like that. And I'm surprised that it happened. Oh, that's where I am. So fans, when we get back in segment two, we're going to talk about officiating. Should be interesting. Be right back on the Eye Coaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student-athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read. Former George Mason standout Fowler Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 2. We've got to talk about officiating. Now, it is unique that I'm talking about officiating with one of my former players here because I rarely got extra involved with officiating because, you can't change a call and I don't want all of this. But lately, the NFL has been getting into a lot of kerfuffles with officiating. So the NFL hears about the rapid complaints. Vice President of Football Operations Troy Vincent said, "We have to act responsibly when calls are missed because we want the game to be played on the field." The NFL also has a weekly internal grading system for each officiating crew and attempts to keep the same crews together on a consistent basis, which is good and bad. Because if you got a good crew, Will, there's some guys you liked when they came in the gym because you knew how the game was going to be called. And then you had some other guys, and you're like, who did I mess up? Who did I make mad? And I got these guys coming into the gym. So let's give you some data, fans. Total penalties per game, which includes declined penalties, is at 7.2 this season, which is up from 6.6 last season, and the highest rate since 2019, which was 8 penalties per team. Several star players have started publicly talking about officiating, as well as announcers. Troy Aikman, I don't know if that crossed your desk last week, Will, criticized the Monday Night Football crew's officials for taking too long to decipher a play. So question, Will, how much is this about things strictly for entertainment purposes only, or is it really about getting the calls right? What do you think?
They're kind of like they have a broken process that's not working. They're implementing rules quickly that don't really understand or get a real time to adapt or use them in other things. Like, for example, when they did the pitch clock in MLB, they did it in the farm system. They were testing it and getting all their data, and they were saying, okay, well, it really doesn't affect any things, and we can move forward with that. But the first thing they do is they say, oh, yeah, here's, bunch of old men sitting in a room talking about, hey, you know what? We should do that. That should be a rule. And they just implement it and they say, okay, work on it in the preseason. And then people will do it, and then it won't get solidified or a foundation or understanding what it is. And people will always be arguing it. I mean, it's even with the last week when we had Jalen Waddle, had his foot standing on the line of scrimmage, the same play that Kadarius Toney was, but he was called for. Those are the things people are going to say. So it's just very, very frustrating. But they really need to kind of look back, take a step back, understand why they're making these rules, and try to gather some data and say, let's see what works, let's see what doesn't work. Let's talk with the players. Let's add, hey guys, look, is it too violent? Can I hit you like that? That's really good, valid points. It's like, hey man, is it okay if I hit you like that? It's like, yeah, sure, it's football. Why not? I don't care if you're flying. Hey, I got to protect myself. I know how to play. I'm a professional. So it's going to take a lot of take, but I don't think they don't have the mentality to even take that on. They're just going to keep making money, keep moving forward, just keep people like, just keep your eyes behind. Don't look at the sausage. We're not gonna try to make it. Don't look.
All
You know.
right. So the NFL discussed officiating matters last week at a meeting, and though no changes will be made until the competition committee officially addresses these things in March, here's some of the things that came up. The owners discussed the tush push made famous by the Philadelphia Eagles, but there's not a lot of momentum to make a change and ban that play. The NFL talked about the hip drop tackle, but it tends not to want to outlaw hustle from behind plays. Troy Vincent called the 1 year kickoff touchback rule an experiment that reduces the amount of injuries, but it's not a long-term fix. They also discussed the merits of a fumble through the end zone, resulting in a touchback. Well, they don't seem to want to make officials full-time, year-round employees. It doesn't seem to be a lot of energy around that. What's something you would do to improve NFL officiating since the NFL doesn't seem to want to go in the direction of full-time officials?
I think that, I think one thing you could do is you could say, okay, let's make them a full time and make the off season can be a time built on, gathering data, going to conferences, meeting with other refs, reviewing rules, writing dissertations and saying this is why this rule has helped us for safety, and this is why it should be how it should be improved, or this is where I struggle as an officiator, and this rule makes me kind of I make it different times. I say this guy gets this and this is illegal. Make it full time and make it because what you have is you have a ton of summer and guys ain't learning nothing. They ain't looking at they get their spring packet. They get the spring packet. Hey, welcome back to the NFL, man. We're going to read a couple things that we're going to put in new and, get them together in. I mean, get them in for like a combine, get them in like in a facility. Have refs running.
Well,
see
they,
how
they have
fast
access to spring football now because the USFL and XFL merger. So now you've got another 10 opportunities or 12 or whatever that is to get reps in. And then that really could be a real feeder to the NFL, but without them wanting to go full time, because I don't think the refs want to go full time. I don't think the league wants to go full time. That's the next.
But maybe that's what it needs. Maybe it needs younger refs who would say, "Look, hey guys, I will immerse myself into the rule book and implement things that I think can make change. But hey, I want a full time job." And when it's like, January through whatever, making me, studying, research, stuff like that. I can speak, things like that, making other opportunities, things like that. Make it like creative because the next generation of refs are going to be in here. They're going to be my age. And people like me, are going to want security. They're like, look, man, I ain't about to go over here on the weekend. And look, man, can I just do this full time and do my thing? So they have to start to adapt and change those things. And they should start doing it now and gathering that data so that they can really have if you implement a change, so let's say a principal says, okay, this is what we're going to do in the next year. This is how we're going to do it. You don't get it. At least you don't get it on like September, October, and you have enough time to say, okay, well, maybe this is the best way to do this, or maybe we can make it better by doing this, or maybe we can remove that and just combine two things that we already have. There's conversation that has to go back and forth, and I think more back and forth having a full-time job will allow them to do that.
Yeah, and I actually went through the process to be a basketball official while I was working on my doctorate to kind of stay near the game. And between the studying and the video and the clinics, it's really, really challenging. And I used to go to the meetings and I used to have officials come to practice and work with you guys. So by no means are we saying any of this easy. And in a future episode, we'll get our own official, Robert Abney, to come and break down some rules for us. But when we get back, fans, we will talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only, right here on the iCoaches Podcast.
Why should student athletes use the CKA SAVE Project academic and athletic consulting services? Over the past 15 to 20 years, Colleges, universities, professional sports teams, business organizations, and others have increased their use of consulting services to improve their decision-making processes and results. Over the same time, the athletic and academic landscape has changed for high school and college student athletes as the NCAA has raised initial academic eligibility requirements for student athletes while decreasing the number of transfer restrictions. Former college student athletes have noted that they were academic and athletically unprepared for the rigors of college. Let the CKA SAVE Project's close to 30 years of academic and athletic experience help guide student athletes to increase success as we work to help student athletes achieve the goal of obtaining a college degree. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. We're going to go with the top 5 that the Cotton Man has. Will, it's on you. What is the top 5 this week?
Man, the Niners are on top again. Number 1, I still got the Ravens. Number 2, got the Dolphins. Number 3, great win without Tyreek. I got to put them right there. The Eagles, they've been kind of flatlined, so they're kind of right there. And great win by Detroit. Way to beat them out the water. Broncos were hot. They played them. They beat them. It was an off week, so they could have beat them. Sadly, it was easy for 5. Dallas, unfortunately, has struggled. And if you look at the stats, if they're on the road, they're just regular. So,
yeah. So I got to ask you though, Will, the Broncos game. Russ got a promo cut on him that I haven't seen in quite some time by his coach. Should we read anything into that? Sean Payton really got after Russ. What do you think about that? Because that tends not to happen to a quarterback in the NFL.
I remember before the game, I think maybe it was before the game, they even mentioned that Russ becoming more accepting to that critique, being that very vocal about when he messes up. So, I think this is probably something that, Russ hasn't messed up in a couple weeks, but when, we don't hear what happens, closed doors. So, he's a professional. Hey, by this time, somebody been yelled at you before, like, you know what it is. You had a bad game. And it's great that you can hear from that and move forward, get that constructive criticism and move forward. So no worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. But
Okay.
that's what they brought Peyton in to say stuff like that.
All right. So my season-long bets, and I'm going to spend a little extra time on some of them. The Steelers over 8.5. They're 7-7 right now. Will got 3 games left. Tomlin's never had a losing season, but I was talking to a good friend of mine, Dawn, a lifelong Steelers fan, and she said, Keith, I think his message has grown stale. Any thoughts about that with Mike Tomlin?
Yeah, I mean, let me not even say, I don't even think it's Mike Tomlin. They have a terrible quarterback system. Both of them are bad. I'm not, no, that is not fair because Tomlin was still got them in the hunt. I thought they were going to be terrible. They still have a good defense, but they just have a bad. He's not a quarterback whisperer. He's not one of those guys. He's not like, but they just have. I mean, I don't know what people are looking at and talking about. This is Mike Tomlin. No, this is because y'all drafted a really bad quarterback. You gave money to a bad quarterback, and then you still brought Mason Rudolph, and you knew he was bad, and you brought him bad. He's back, and he's still bad. So yeah. I'm not gonna. And I'm sure he was like, "Yo, do not bring this guy here." I'm sure he was trying to get Rodgers. I'm sure he's trying to get Rodgers. So long story short, man, I ain't trying to hear that Mike Tomlin stuff, man. I ain't trying to hear that.
Okay. All right, Jags and they're playing as we're taping. Over 10 wins, and we got 3 games left after this, and they're not favored tonight. The Jets at 9.5. We got 5 at 9. That ain't gonna happen. The Chargers. You can't give up over 60 or you lose your job. Well, I think the Chargers is a good job You already know your quarterback because you're invested in him. He's supposed to be good, but he ain't no good. Any thoughts about the Chargers job?
It's going to be a sexy job. I mean, again, you're in LA, you're not in San Diego anymore, so you're going to have a lot of opportunities. Just players are going to come. You're going to get the newest like technology, whatever you need to do. It's going to be a very attractive job, but they have to decide where they want to go, who they want to be, what their identity is, and is that package? Is that packageable? Is that So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's a very attractive position, and hopefully they hire a brother. That's all.
BCA is real. All right,
Right.
Green Bay over 7.5. They're 6-8 right now with 3 games left. All of my bets seem to be going to like the last weeks, so that's not good for me. Carolina, that's not one of them. Washington over 6.5. Is the Commander's job a good job? Because I'm asking about it because when Snyder left, it was like everybody was excited about a new owner. But if you did the history of that owner, really hadn't won a lot. And Mike King, if he was on, would say, now you got nobody to blame. So is the Commander's job a good job? Or, hey, the NFL is one of 32 teams. Take whatever job you can get. What do you think, Will?
I think it's going to be. It's a greght job. I think it's a great gig. I think one, you're going to have fans from 3 different states who are right here that you can go to. And if you're in those like reconstruction if you're like one of those guys who like to rebuild, this is it. Trust me, this is a rebuild. The cupboard isn't bare, but it definitely needs to be stocked up. A little things like that.
You need to do some
Um,
grocery shopping, sir.
Oh yeah, that too. But it's
They
just
even put in a backup this week.
they don't even know if they want to give Bieniemy a chance to be a head coach. They don't even know if they want to do that. So I heard about Belichick was going to be the head coach, or that doesn't get people excited. That does not get people excited. So I think
It's like bringing
it's
Lombardi in right before he passed away,
yeah for
meaning
what
not
yeah.
that we want that, but a guy who is long past. How many years he got if you bring him in? So
I would bring him in. I would bring him in the front office. I'd bring him in as like a president or somewhere like just. But I don't know. It's just to me, it's like you come here and people are going to be like, oh yeah, I should. You were good 20 years ago, whatever. Like, the kids don't latch on to stuff like that anymore. So I don't. It's an attractive job. We'll see what happens where the moving new stadiums, things like that, what the color is, things like that. So we'll see.
all right, and then finally for me, Seattle 6-7, supposed to be over 8.5. I don't know if they can go 2-1 their last 3 games, but and actually they have to go 3-0 for me to win. Oh, no. Titans, Steelers, Cardinals. It's doable, but they're fading like they usually do. So moving on to bets of the week. I was 1-4. Will for my spread, I had Atlanta -3, laid an egg. I had the Rams over 50. Total game was 48. That's not good. My 2-play Rams -6.5. That hit the
Ooh,
pay window,
yep,
but I had the 49ers under 48.5. And I think they scored 40 by themselves. My three
right,
play
exactly.
My 3-play did come through: Miami, Kansas City, San Francisco. And I drank the Kool-Aid, said, come on, Dallas, you can do this. So big brother Rick, they suck.
It was
Okay.
bad because they even said that on Michael Irvin said that on the Sunday morning show. He was like, yeah. He's like, I don't think they're gonna beat the Bills. I was like, oh, nobody should take the Cowboys.
All right. So week 16 games of notes. Thursday, you got the Saints and the Rams. That actually means something. Saturday, you got Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. That means something. You also have Buffalo versus the Chargers on Saturday. That means something. Sunday, you got Seattle, Tennessee. Seattle has to win. Washington and the Jets. The reason why I got Washington Jets down is rumor has it that Aaron freaking Rodgers may be cleared to play. Will, are you playing that dude if he's cleared?
No way. No way. Ain't no way.
Is Coach
Ain't
Adams
no way.
playing that dude?
I dress him. Hey, look, I mess him up. I put him as questionable. I dress him up. I have people throwing up in the warm up, throwing. And as soon as the game start, you're gonna see him with the jacket on.
No.
Everybody, sight.
All right, Cleveland is playing Houston. That's a game of note. Jacksonville against Tampa Bay. Dallas travels to Miami. They can't go 0-2 in this situation. Oh my goodness. And then Monday night, the NFL is creeping in on the NBA's territory. Monday is December 25th. That's Christmas Day. That's the NBA's day, right?
That's the
Wrong.
NBA.
Raiders, Kansas City. Giants, Eagles, Baltimore, San Francisco, and the Harbor Bowl from Super Bowls past. That's just wrong, and that's just wrong,
Yeah.
man.
They're not gonna stop. It's not like they're gonna stop it anymore. They're like, oh, well, back in Christmas.
They going to Brazil next year. It's crazy, man. So, Will, what are you looking forward to this coming week?
Oh man, Ravens, Niners, obviously on Christmas. That's going to be great. Hopefully, I'll be able to stay up to watch it because Christmas is always crazy for me. Saints, Rams are going to be interesting for me because I'm in the fantasy football playoffs, as well as the winner is going to be in the playoffs for them. I'm not interested in Buffalo or the Chargers anymore. Pittsburgh, they have nothing. Cincinnati, I like that kid, the quarterback Browning.
Yeah, man, he talked a little trash
like
today.
Yeah,
you should have drafted
I saw
me.
that.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
you shouldn't have cut me. I just
shouldn't
can't
have
use
cut
the
me.
word. Mike would have used the words that he franchise.
Oh, there you go. Exactly,
right.
exactly.
So,
And then let's see here.
ahead.
I think that's it. Oh, and Dallas, Miami. That should be a good game. I
Yeah.
mean, it'll be Miami, nice and warm. They have no issues. So, and they, like you said, they can't lose 2 in a row. That's going to be crazy.
But I think Tyreek Hill will play this game. I think he just took a week off against the Jets. All right, so fans, we're going to take a holiday break over the next 2 weeks. Our super producer Kelly could use 2 weeks off from our hijinks, and we all want to spend time with family and friends. A lot goes to making this show what it is, and I'm grateful to everybody that helps out. We'll be back on the air January 9th with an NFL season wrap-up and a playoff preview. So, Will, do you have a playoff sneaking in or a playoff getting out team that we should follow over the next 2 weeks?
They really like playing. They like playing for this guy Stafford, man. They like playing for that kid, man. They like him. I know they're not going to go to the Super Bowl, but they're playing very well, man. Guys are playing well. The running backs playing well. They got Aaron Donald back. You'll see what happens. But I think LA can sneak into this. If anything, LA can sneak into. They're hot right now.
Well, my prediction is a bad one. I predict by hook or by crook, we're going to have 5 openings that we're going to talk about when we get back on our next show. Some of them have already been released, and some of them will be released. That tends to happen that Monday after the regular season ends. So we'll be making some strong predictions, and we'll see what happens with that. But as we close, we want to wish everybody a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, anything you want, you got it. So on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, especially my captain for life, Will Cotton, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Eye Coaches podcast. We'll see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care and Happy New Year.
The Eye Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.